no quality. Howdy everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Talk and Grind, where I will just randomly talk about things and grind in a certain video game. Today, that video game of my choice is, of course, Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix for the PlayStation 4, and also technically the PlayStation 3, but I have it for the PS4 because it's where I do all my streaming. But today I do have a few things that I do want to talk about, and once I'm done talking about them, then the episode will end. But please enjoy the grinding in the background. If you're wondering what I am grinding, I am currently grinding my drive forms. If you've never played Kingdom Hearts 2, it's a lot to explain, but pretty much Sora gets different forms, and they level up individually based on certain things, and right now I'm doing final form. So I'm technically also near the end of the game, but there will be nothing story happening, so it's gonna just look like a lot of sparkles. So let's start with the first topic of 3 that I have for today, which is competitive gaming and competitive games. I've had my fair share of run-ins with competitive games. Most importantly, like League of Legends, if you ever know what that is. God help you if you know what that is, because someone you know has probably had their life ruined by it. Myself financially will never be the same due to a beautiful game developed by Riot. However, it's come to my attention that competitive gaming is reaching astonishing levels of just how much attention it's getting. There was a recent announcement that there's a decent possibility now that competitive gaming might see Olympic team in future Olympics, which amazes me. Something that people started to do recreationally, which is playing video games, which then became a sport in its own, hence esports, and is now going to be considered even great enough to be in the Olympics, which is pretty much the most challenging feat of athletic ability. And that's pretty much saying that these gamers have the same athletic ability as some of the world's greatest athletes. Now, why is that important? It's probably because gaming in itself takes mental fortitude. And a lot of people think, oh no, it's just pressing buttons, I can do that. Well, you can't. If you could, you'd be where they were. For example, back to like the League of Legends type of thing, I played a lot of League of Legends, and I considered myself, pretty mediocre at the game. Trying to find a word that describes me, and I wanted to say good, but I knew I'd be lying to myself. And throughout all of it, I've only ever really made it to silver, which isn't that high of a rank, but hey, I'm proud of it, because shit, hellholes are hellholes, and League of Legends has those. But there's always a few games that I'll play where I'll see a few people bashing on some of like the pro players of this competitive game, because League of Legends is an esport. And they'll bash some of the pro people as if they themselves were good, but you have to remember, you're in the same spot as I am. We're no better than the dirt that just joined the game. So how are you going to go out and I should probably start running back now. How are you going to go out and say, what's his name? Sneaky, one of the pro players. Sneaky's such a terrible ADC because blah blah blah. I could have done that. And this is like, if you could have done that, wouldn't you be in the world spot rather than Sneaky? So you can tell that even in games that there's a lot of thought that goes into what you do, and you can tell when games are being shaped towards competitive play, because things start getting removed in favor of how pros play it rather than the casuals. Street Fighter 5, the newest release, shown something similar to that, because there's a lack of characters to play with. From a roster that had over 30 people. There are now maybe 15. I don't remember. I haven't played Street Fighter V in a while. But it's hard to see that all the people who were considered, you know, casual, Dan Hibiki, Sakura, people who you could just have a lot of fun with some silly combos with, were all removed in spite of keeping people like Ryu, Cammy, people who were technical and needed a lot of, you know, time to master. And if you did master them, you would stomp people. So you can see it's geared towards competitive play, since it also has its own minor league right now where, you know, they're showcasing it on one TV channel. I don't remember. How much do I need to level up? Final 46. Damn. So there's a lot of games that get shaped by the competitive play. League of Legends is another one where items, champions will get weakened or strengthened or removed entirely. Not the champions, but like the items, if they're showing too much pressure in competitive play, where competitive play is just revolving around whether these champions or items stay around and who gets what first. So Riot can't have that because, well, that's all they are at this point, waiting for the LCS to take off. That one does not want to die. So we get this whole games that are played casually are being made to be competitive, and these competitive games that are taking off way too much and just, I feel, leave somewhat of a sour impression of people. Because I was talking to my sister about it, just like, why are gamers gonna be considered athletes when they don't do much? And it's like, that's the whole, but we do. And I'm pretty sure a sport can be defined in many different ways, something that tests the both mind and the body. Yeah, you can have the mind to do whatever, but if you don't have the reaction time to press the buttons, you're not good. You're not going to be good. And that's, like, I understand why they consider some games, like competitive games, a sport, but I don't understand why it would hit Olympic levels of, what's it called, of play. It doesn't deserve to, for me, it doesn't deserve to be an Olympic event that's coming from a gamer. It'd be awesome to be on stage saying, hey, look, Mom, I'm at the Olympics. What are you doing? I'm playing video games. That sounds hilarious, but it also sounds athletic. And I don't see the purpose of it. People will disagree with me, but that's just me. I can't press the X button any harder. But I am excited to see how that would go out. Running has a similar story in which he began as a really hipster hobby and now it's an Olympic sport. Yeah, but I mean, like, some of these people train themselves so hard that they can run as fast as some vehicles, not cars, because that's not possible. Regardless of how fast you are, you will not be running 60 miles per hour. If you are, you should probably check your lights. They might be breaking. But it is something that I will eventually look into if it does happen, since it's supposed to happen in the next Olympics, which is 2020. I don't know. I don't follow the Olympics. I don't follow much sports in general. Get that out of my face. Another thing I wanted to talk about was, like, preferences in music. Now, I have come to the point in my life where I no longer have a favorite genre of music, which is sad in of itself, but I mean, I guess it's progressive. That super you really watch the Olympics. Fair enough, because I'll watch this. I'll watch the gaming segment. But in my youth, I could say I had a favorite type of music. It was the weed music. I really did like J-pop, K-pop, and just overall anything that had an Asian descent and a very good melody. That and rock. Those are my two favorite types of music when I was a kid. And of course, as time went on, both my music preferences, taste preferences, that's pretty much my preferences started to set in as an adult. And I realized I can't say I have a favorite type of music anymore, because while I do like some music more than others, specifically I don't like rap all that much, but I'll listen to it, depending on who the artist is. It's come to the point where I no longer have to say like, oh, I like J-pop more than anything else, because I don't. It's on par with all the other types of music I listen to. For example, like, I really like jazz now, and jazz for me is just really nice to listen to, but am I going to prefer it over listening to, this is dangerous, I made a mistake, I'm supposed to go to drive form before. I'm probably going to get anti-form next time I try and use a drive form. But it's honestly astonishing how things change like that. Because you can go from... I think the one guy who felt super bad because I kept forgetting Splash, welcome back, hello, how's it going? Just doing some grinding over somewhat not serious discussion. But as I was saying, yeah, music, I have to say I do listen to a lot of music. It's become a part of me. I will listen to music for anything. The fact that I don't have music playing right now, because I feel like Kingdom Hearts' music is a bit good to have another background track playing, because the music is so... I only listen to emo music. I used to, that too, and I don't mind that either. I will listen to MCR, Linkin Park, just as much as I'll listen to Girls' Generation, Big Bang, and other like different types of music. I have become so musically fluid with my choices and like preferences that it's almost impossible for me to narrow down something that I like over others. And that's not bad. It's actually pretty good. It's just weird because at one point I wouldn't listen to any type of music if it wasn't something that I enjoyed. And give me strength. I don't know, I just find it funny how people grow. And I like that because makes me feel like I've grown from my adolescence, which I very much appreciate. Before I'm blazing through these topics, I've got some other things to talk about. This is going to be a very short episode. Before I go on to the next segment, which I have to pull up again because I forgot. If you're wondering why I'm doing what I'm doing, because this is a pretty legitimate grinding strategy for final form, which is what I'm doing. If you leave a world while in a dry form and come back to any save point, you'll keep all of your form gauge. Usually once your form gauge runs out, you have to build it back up before you can transform again. So if I refill my form gauge every time I leave, I can pretty much do this infinitely. And if you were wondering why I said, oh, this was a mistake when I walked in earlier and didn't transform, was because every time you go into a form gauge, you get anti-counter, which is pretty much your penalty for using dry forms too much. You got a new banner? That's so cool. And if you go into battle and use a dry form with a high enough anti-counter, you'll get anti-Sora, which has no defense, can't heal, and pretty much dies to almost anything. But it has some perks, so I don't get into that right now. So if you're not in a battle, you'll always go into the form you choose. So if you can see the little commands on the bottom, if it's blue, I'll always go into the one. Gotta go. It was fun. Have a good one. Sorry, Splash. Oh, your mom's mad. That's not good. Hopefully everything comes out alright. See you around, Splash. So yeah, that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. I'm not crazy. My mother had me tested. Actually, I have some other things about that music. I love game music a lot. And that probably has to do with how much video games I've played in the past. And I've come to appreciate so many different types of tracks to fit so many different situations. And once you learn like story as well as like character development, some pieces of music can be super emotional when it comes to what's going on. And it's amazing. For example, Dark Souls. If you've never played Dark Souls and you intend to play Dark Souls, this is your spoiler warning. I'm going to repeat, this is your spoiler warning. I will be talking about a few things in the last places of Dark Souls, the original game, Dark Souls 1. Not 2 or 3, but if you... Actually, I will be talking about 3. Also, the final boss of 3. So if you want to get that, if that's all out of the way, that's your spoiler warning. Congrats. If you're still here, hello. But, for example, Gwyn, the Lord of Cinder, is the final boss in Dark Souls. Now, if you don't know anything about Dark Souls, it's one of those hard as hell games that break you down, pretty much prove your mettle on the proving grounds of proving a lot. But pretty much it's one of those really hard games that is just, once you master it, you get everything down, and all the boss fight music's very dramatic and thematic to what's going on. So you feel like the music, you know, fits, because giant boss, over the top musical tracks that sounds like the organs of hell are playing itself. Now, Dark Souls does a good job of hiding its lore in item descriptions and small chats that you can't miss. Now, if you don't know anything about Gwyn, it's that he's a king who's desperately trying to hold on to what he has, which is the fire and being the Lord of Cinder. Which, in of itself, means, of course, Gwyn's going to be a solemn fellow, because he knows his age is dying, and he doesn't want it to, so he does everything in his power to desperately stop you. So when you finally get through that fog gate and you hear his boss music, it's not some epic guitar riff that hits you, it's soft piano music that pretty much tells you that he knows he's going to lose. He can only die once. He can kill you as much as he wants. But once he dies, he knows that everything he's fought for is gone. And it's very saddening. It's almost to the part where I feel bad having to end the fight, but the music drives it so much better, because you get this emotional attachment to the character, and you feel bad. Well, unless you're speedrunning the game, in which case you don't even give a fuck and you're just trying to kill him quickly, so you're probably parrying him to death, you monster. And the same thing goes for Kingdom Hearts. Earlier today I did the rock up. I did nothing. I didn't. It's spoiler warning for Kingdom Hearts. Did I give me a spoiler warning for Kingdom Hearts 2 and Dark Souls? These games are old as hell. But if you've never played Kingdom Hearts 2, this is your spoiler warning for one of the boss battles in one of the last worlds, which I happen to be in. Hello. Got that out of the way. But one of the fights is Roxas, which is Sora's nobody. If you don't know what that is, just fucking watch a lore video. I don't have time to explain the Matrix level of depth that is the Kingdom Hearts saga. I made a mistake. I am error. One sec, please. Oh, thank God. So, again, all bosses up until Roxy Boy over here, Jesse McCartney, have these really epic boss musics, some fantastic sounds, and it sounds great. But once you hit Roxas, the song known as The Other Promise is in of itself probably the most depressing thing you'll ever hear. But it fits so well with how Sora and Roxas both grew as people. Roxas grew believing he was his own person to just suddenly find out he was a part of someone else that wasn't supposed to exist. It's sad that he now has to live with that because, well, what it is, you can't change that. He goes through his life. Oh sweet, I'm already maxed out. Final form's done. Let's go on to the next one. He lived his whole life thinking that, you know, he was himself until he met Sora in the pod, and then pretty much relinquished his life to Sora. It's depressing. And to hear that battle music as Roxas' last attempt to be his own person is just... it's hard to explain. Why can't I have to re-get those save points, okay. Welcome to Agrabah, everybody. Enjoy your stay. To go this way. Do I have to fight the thing again? This will be interesting. I should probably save, actually. I haven't saved in a while. Just how you do character development, and then if you get this whole emotional side of things, and then pair it together with great music, it just makes so much of a difference. And I just realized I went from level 49 to 54 in about, I don't know, 45 minutes. It's amazing. Go me. But it's just, I don't know. It's moving. It's something that definitely can bring a tear to your eye if you're... I can't work with it. So, if you don't know what I'm doing here, this is another grinding spot for me for 2 other different forms. So I'll continue doing that. I'm doing Valor form now. This giant mushroom over here.
Give me strength.
So,
Back off.
yeah, the Roxas fight in of itself isn't, it's actually pretty hard. I died more than I want to admit. But to give Roxas his depth in what was my first time playing Kingdom Hearts 2 back when it came out on the PlayStation 2, I had no idea who Roxas was. I just thought he was a cooler version of Sora, and I wanted to play as Roxas more than I wanted to play as Sora. So having this, what seemed to me at the first time, having this out-of-place music where it was sad, it felt a little weird, because I didn't have the other games. I didn't even play Kingdom Hearts 1 up until recently, actually. So hearing this sad battle theme, it was strange. I would think, you know, Roxas being this badass person would have badass music, so at first I didn't understand it. But as time went on, I played more and more of the Kingdom Hearts games. I played Dream Drop Distance, not Dream Drop Distance, Birth by Sleep, found out why Roxas looks the way Roxas does and looks nothing like Sora. Played Chain of Memories, regrettably, and found out, you know, why Roxas exists, how Roxas came to be. 385 over 2 days, which is the game all about Roxas, which pretty much solidified Roxas being my favorite character in the Kingdom Hearts universe. It's just mind-boggling, and replaying that fight after learning all of these, excuse me, learning all of this was just nothing short of amazing, because now Roxas had this new depth, and I understood why they would choose such a song for him, and thus learning why felt so much better fighting him, because now everything made sense. Roxas didn't want to fade, and it was one of those touching moments. And that's one of the things, this is leading me to the other thing I want to talk about. Storytelling, and how actually hard it is to tell a story. And some places do it right, and some places don't know what they're doing. Now, I'm an amateur writer at best. It's one of the hobbies that I do. And I understand it's not easy to write a story. But games like Dark Souls, Kingdom Hearts, The World Ends With You, these games can weave together stories in such ways that it's amazing. I've never seen a story so convoluted and drawn out with so many twists and turns as Kingdom Hearts. But for me, it's done very well. The character development is great. The way things go is just perfect. Everything falls together. Everything has a reason. Nothing happens just because. There's always a reason for everything. Oh, your friend fell into darkness? Well, you'll find out why. In Dark Souls, the story is never given to you. You have to figure it out. You have to go out and look for it because you want to know what's happening. And it's honestly an amazing sight. I've never seen a story done like that in Dark Souls case. It's not given to you. You can go through the whole game killing everything and not knowing why. All the lore, all the stories, all the depression that comes with finding out who is what and why they do what they do. Everything that happens comes from item descriptions, things that no one ever reads. But the second you do, you start figuring it out. Then you start talking to people and understanding what they're talking about. And it hits you and you finally realize, damn, I've been killing these people who could have been actual people. Or I've been slaying beasts and taking their souls for what? So I can become the next king? Do I really want that? And then you start to question why you've done what you've done. Again, unless you're a speedrunner, none of this applies to you. Master stuff. Master limit. Wisdom's gonna be hard to do, but I'll finish Valor and limit, and that'll probably be the end of today because I'm running out of things to say. It's so great. Isn't it cute? This is the Organization 13 mushroom.
Let's go.
It's just so amazing to see things pieced together in ways that you didn't expect. Or to see things fall together. You know what's going to happen, but you don't know what the in-between. Knowing the beginning and the end of a story can sometimes drive people to want to know what the journey was to get to that end. Now, that's not for everyone. Some people complain knowing what happens at the end, or knowing something that happens close to the end, can ruin the experience for them. And I understand, because you want to get there yourself. But then, for people like me, seeing a glimpse of the future, or something that could be the future if you don't do something about it, it just sounds like something I want to know how to get to. I want to find my way to whatever it is that either destroyed the world, or... Oh, I'm already done with this one too. Jeez, I'm on a roll. I've completed 2 forms in the course of this video. I am very proud of myself. I'm gonna make end game easy even though I've already beaten Kingdom Hearts 2 approximately 6 times. I really like this game. Next is limit. Alright, as I was saying, it's just... storytelling isn't the easiest thing. Putting together a cohesive story also isn't easy. But when it's done right, it should be appreciated. Like, writing a story, right? You have to somehow convince your audience of a situation with just this. Most of the time, unless you're doing like a manga or something. You have no pictures, no images, no sounds, no music. You have to build, you have to construct, destroy, murder, bring life with just words. Something that isn't easy to do, but some authors, It's just amazing to see how it's done. And I'm envious at times. And that's why I write, is to try and convey these emotions sometimes to people. Because why not? Show them what you see.
Give me strength. Yeah. This is it.
I don't think any one form of expression is better than the other, such as art, music, writing, or interpretive dance, I guess, action. But I should actually not risk it. They all need to have their proper credit, is how I'm saying it. Because music, when done properly, can bring people to the verge of tears. And the same thing with writing. And some art pieces can move people to feel things that they didn't know that they could feel. And it's generally... Is that a chest over here? Oh, it is. Neat. I didn't know that. And it's generally just something that no one expects. And I feel that... Sorry, I'm a little choked up here. It's kind of stuffy in my room, and I've turned off all the fans so that you didn't hear the from hell. That is my fan. But regardless of which form of media is expressed, if you can understand the artists, the authors, the composers' emotions from what they're showing you, whether it be a written piece, an art piece, a music piece, a dance piece, or whatever, if you can understand their emotions and understand how they see things, then they've done their job. If in a game you understand how it feels to either be super helpless or the one to save everybody, or how it is to be the main character, to be in their shoes, if you can understand that, then the game was done right. For example, The World Ends With You. If you ever played The World Ends With You, hey, if you've never played The World Ends With You, get a DS emulator, play it, it's great. Or buy it, actually. I'm not sure if any money still goes to Square Enix. Try and buy it. It's on the App Store right now. You can actually buy the Solo Remix Edition on, I believe, both Android and iOS. But it's such a good game, because you can feel the emotions of it. I can do one and then I got bounced. You feel the emotions from that game. You can end up getting all the feelings that the main character is put through. Everything that hurts him, everything that brings him happiness, and the reasons why he does it. You will understand everything if you play through the game. The first, it's divided by weeks. The first week is weird, because you don't know what's going on, and you can... I don't want to talk about it, I'm just going to walk out of this room. Try that again. You can feel the helplessness that he has in week 1, because he still doesn't know what's going on. He doesn't know how he is a part of what he is. Maybe this time turn into your form. That'd be smart. Then, as time goes on and the game progresses, you feel his determination to overcome what he has to overcome. And it resonates with you if you're a player like me. And it's just so great, because not only is this game balancing super heavy topics for what is a game that is on the Nintendo DS of all consoles. Because there's topics of life, death, depression, possible suicide, murder. There's just a lot of things in that game where it's just okay, this is out of my element, and I don't know what's going on, but I like it. And that's how I felt the whole time. It was a great game. And I do recommend everyone to play it. because it's one of those games where storytelling is done right. You feel the character development between all of the characters, between Beat, Rhyme, well, you don't see them too much, but Joshua, Shiki, Neku himself, because you're with Neku the whole time. You feel all of that, and you understand everything. Sometimes things are a little tricky, but the game balances humor as well as the darker sides of what reality can be. The game is a very touchy game. It's not particularly happy at all times, but it's not suppressive. And it's definitely something that can be played over and over. In my case, I would play that game a lot more than I am willing to disclose how many times I've beaten that game. Say it's more than Kingdom Hearts, I'll let you know that. But it was just such an amazing experience, and those are one of the games that I would love to make a story like that. Something so captivating. It's not easy, but it is definitely possible. From now on, I'm going to try and do storytime videos. That's something I wanted to announce later, but I'll announce it now to whoever's watching. In the future, I do want to do storytime-ish videos based on experiences, but I want to have them somewhat pre-written and pretty much just me read them off, which sounds boring, and I get it. I don't know where to grind limit form or master. I'll figure that out. It sounds boring, but I want to make these stories a bit so that people could understand, one, me a bit better, but also understand how it is possible to captivate an audience with such trivial stories. Because, let's be honest, most people's lives ain't that entertaining. But if you're willing to watch a 12-episode anime about some high schooler, and you find it interesting for some reason, or you're willing to read a book based on some kid who wound up in jail for X, Y, Z reason, but you want to read it. These are basic stories that anyone can live through. They're everyday things that can happen. We just choose to, look at the ones that are written better, or told better. And that's what I want to try and do. But alas, those are all the topics that I wanted to talk about today. Nothing else that I have on my mind, and I appreciate those who have stayed with me till the end. Those of you who watched during the stream that was up, thank you for watching. Hope I entertained you with my words. For those of you who are watching in the future, also thank you for watching. To the both of you, leave a like, comment, subscribe maybe. I do this as often as I can if I'm not busy, or if I'm not, battling dragons, because I have games to play. I hope to see you all next time, and hope you all have a wonderful night.